crazy camp life, votes, and tribals, the life of a survivor is more than you see on TV. So if you need the scoop on island survival, crack a coconut, put on some rice, and let's spill the immunity. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. It is the episode recap of episode 12 of season 46 of Survivor. I'm here with Brandon and Alex. I'm so excited to be here for this lackluster episode. Oh, look at that fireworks. I love it. Yeah, I don't know. He's got all these magic tricks that he has up his sleeve.
Nothing. As long as he's using his magic tricks, because for whatever reason, we don't like to use magic tricks.
Or idols.
Or idols.
Right. I know. What is up with this season? 4 people in a row go home with idols in their pocket. Is this like a new school thing? Like you can't use your idol, or you just have to save it?
We don't need no freaking idol.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, 5 people did.
Right. I mean, this is just incredible. I mean, I've never... And it's because it's back to back to back, same story every time, where it's almost obvious that they're going home, and for whatever reason they're completely out of the loop. So maybe these people are just really good liars, but to me it doesn't seem like, it's within the realm of possibility it could happen. So you've seen it 3 times prior. I know not everyone's known that they've had an idol, but I mean, Q, come on, dude.
And there's a spectrum between is everybody that great of a liar or liars, or are these people just flat out gullible and believing whatever it is that says, hey, you're not going home. And the remarkable thing about this one is Q only told the person that did not vote with him or did not vote him out, which I think is the the first time that's happened. So at least we have that first. Is that Maria was the only one told about his idol. I don't think Maria told anybody about his idol. No one else knew about the idol, and yet Maria is the only one who did not vote Q.
Exactly.
Mesmerizing.
And can we just say, bravo, Ben, you got the right letter. He put down a Q and not like a K or an S.
Right.
Or Jeff Probst. Yeah.
Or Jeff's name. Maybe he'll write Jeff's name once. That would be hysterical. That would be a first. I don't think anyone's ever written Jeff's name down. Yeah. We started out the episode with him just saying, I forgot. I didn't know what I was doing. I just wrote a name down. I didn't know. I was so hungry and tired.
They just chose a name. I just chose the name of the...
Well, He said he was drunk off pizza and soda, right? And I can relate. I sometimes eat too much and I have to go lay down and stuff, whatever. But this is the thing. We talked about this last week. We were like, is Ben really that close to Maria when it seems like him and Kenzie were, they're the tightest, right? Because Kenzie's always consoling him because he has things, right? And then he writes her name. So, I mean, was he really confused? Was he think Kenzie was going home? Or was it just a pure choke panic? Who's to say? He can't even say. He doesn't even know.
He doesn't know.
Right.
0% chance of winning. He's in that boat. And I think in this show, yes, Maria does get some stock for winning and yet another immunity, which is great. Her 3rd of the season, which is awesome. Jeff talked about how she's about to become elite when it comes to the females who have done this on a shorter season. So that's all well and good. However, I think everybody else kind of snuck up a little bit on her this episode because she didn't have, the best tribal council at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, ever since she kind of messed up with the Liz thing, rock, paper, scissors, it's kind of been a downward spiral for her. She's just kind of, and I don't know, she's not seeming as even sharp anymore. And it's really seeming like Charlie has been kind of the mastermind of this entire operation. And he's built such good relationships with Kenzie and, he's just so lovable, they said. That's what Maria said. He's just so lovable. He's going to win at the end. And I think you're kind of see, we said previously, oh, this is Denise and Malcolm. This ain't no Denise and Malcolm anymore. Not really. I mean, I like Maria, nice lady, but she's no Denise.
She's
Denise
not holding up.
Yeah, she's not holding up. The game is kind of wearing on her. Denise was so good. I mean, she was the winner too, and beat Malcolm. Charlie is way different than Malcolm too. He's more of a I don't know, Cochran, I guess, or
He's
nerdy
so much less
of...
threatening, I think, than Malcolm. Malcolm was this very big guy, had a lot of. I mean, even though Charlie can do that, he just doesn't play that off like that. He's just super mellow and relaxed and quiet in the background. And he's doing the strategic things that you need to do to build relationships. Maria is doing the things you do to break relationships. And I think that's what we've seen at the end. And you would think, they're both, Denise and Maria, both coaches, and working with families or working with couples. I mean, she's parent coach. So I kind of look sort of similar. So I just see that she's just not showing awareness to what she is doing and how that is affecting, the players around her. And it's not going well for her. And then I think that she's realizing that, which is why I think we saw her break down so much. I know the letters from home were kind of a big deal for her, but I think it's that on top of the rock, paper, scissors and the reactions she's gotten from that.
Yeah.
I also think that they've been doing a great. I think the winner edit's going to Charlie for sure right now. This is like the third or fourth time in this season where they've kind of let you in on a little bit of a strategy. And even though it seems basic to keep as many relationships open as possible, he's doing it well. And there's a difference between, making sure that you're still friends with everybody and really checking in with people and seeing how things are going. So, him making sure he goes to Ben to see, hey, if we do go the Maria route or if we do a Q route, which will then cancel a vote for Maria if we don't keep her in this, are we still good? Are we going to be able to take on the ladies after this? And so the winner's edit is pointing towards Charlie for sure.
100%. And we said that last week too. It was like, you can't cross people off of this game and say, I'm not going to work with them. They have no utility. They have no value. I don't care no matter what. That's just not how the game of Survivor works. You have to keep every door open, every relation. You have to be nice to everybody. You have to, get their vote at the end. And yeah, Maria, comment in the chat. I was surprised that Maria didn't push Q to play his idol. Him going home hurt her game significantly. 100%.
It did.
100%.
It did.
Yes. Not only that, and again, it showed that conversation she had with the lady saying, hey, let's go Charlie. And so I guess that would make sense, especially if Liz is involved. She doesn't like Q. Maybe this is the time to do that. But to think that Marie must have a lot of trust in Liz's game for whatever reason. Maybe we're not seeing it. But to think that in this season when idols have not been played right 300-400 times in a row, and to tell Q, hey, just play your idol. Their votes. She already heard that the votes were going against Q. Play that out. Get all the votes on Q, and then have him play his idol so that he gets some stock. The only reason I can think that she didn't do that with Q is if she thought that Q had a chance against her, and I don't think she's of that mindset that Q could beat her in the game of Survivor. I kind of think that she sees Q as kind of her little lapdog.
Right. Well, it would have been a much better strategy for her too, as far as maintaining that relationship with everybody else, to say, oh, I didn't want Charlie to go home. He was my number one. And so she could have voted for Q. They could have all dogpiled on Q. He plays the idol. Charlie goes home and it looks like it's Q's move, but she could still say at the end, oh no, I knew about Charlie's idol. It was actually my move. And I was the one who encouraged everybody to vote for Q because I knew that he was going to play his idol. And so total misstep. And yeah, just super, I don't even know, blind spot for her to think that Kenzie and Liz and Ben would want to vote for her. I mean, Charlie is a really big threat. I mean, it was probably in their self-interest to vote Charlie off in some regard, but now, I mean, there's a very real possibility that it could be Ben, Liz, and Kenzie in the end. And if Charlie and Maria, they don't win, and they're both probably likely going to win. One of them will probably likely get to the end, but I mean, it's very real because Kenzie and Liz and Ben all have a real reason to team up because that tribal, I mean, that final tribal would be pretty interesting if it was those three. I mean, I think Kenzie would pretty easily win, but I don't know. Maybe she wouldn't, because she made some big blunders. It could be, I mean, it could be a toss up between, or even Ben, because he just had those relationships, right? So it could be a big toss up if those three go to the end. But if Maria or Charlie go to the end, it's game over.
Yeah. I think that if whoever wins next week, right? So if Maria wins, Charlie will go home. He better find himself an idol and play it. Like it's the last time to play one anyway. So you go find one, you play one. Like you don't take it home. It's not a souvenir. Go pick up some sand and put in a jar, a couple shells. You'll be good. And if Charlie wins, Maria better hope to God that she can find it. Because one of those two are definitely going to be going home next week. I don't think there's no way around it. And the only way is if whoever, they find an idol, right? So if Charlie wins and Maria finds an idol, then she'll be able to stay. And then it's kind of like, then who goes home? I think it would be Liz, of those three, because, or actually, I was thinking about this. If Charlie has any say in it, I think it might be Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say Ben is because Ben will vote for Charlie. And he definitely wants to make sure he stacks the jury with votes for himself. Because I don't think Kenzie or Liz or Ben have a chance of winning at this point if Charlie and Maria are in there. We just said that.
Oh, absolutely.
So if Charlie, if for some reason they're thinking of like, we can't vote Charlie, we can't vote Maria, right? Because Charlie has an idol and Maria's won immunity. Who goes? I think Charlie would probably push for Ben because it's a vote for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ben could vote for Kenzie, right? If Kenzie's in the final, but I
that's true. Yeah, he could vote for Kenzie, but
if he puts down the right name, I mean,
if he puts down the right name,
he'll be like, "What am I doing? What is all different now?" Right?
He might have a fourth name.
Calls over Jeff when he's at the final tribal. Calls over Kenzie. No, calls over Kenzie when he's at the right, and she helps him write it.
Right.
It's just joking, man.
So let's go ahead and just we're at the final 5 here, and let's assume that where do we want to go first? Do we assume that Maria is on a hot streak and does win another immunity to get her? Who should make fire against whom if Maria wins this next thing? I guess we're not there yet. We have to kick one more person out, right?
Yeah, we have elimination at 5, and then we go the 4. It's like who wins at 4. So it's really going to depend. I mean, you're either going to have Maria or Charlie or both in the final 4.
Yep. So let's play this out. So who do you guys think is going to win the immunity challenge next week? And then who's getting voted out first?
I think Charlie.
Okay.
So Charlie's going to win the immunity because I think it's going to be like a endurance, hold it, push it till it hurts type of thing. Okay. So Charlie's won every single one of those. Charlie will then orchestrate a blind set against Maria.
Okay.
Maria will go home. Charlie will then win again. He will then send Ben and Kenzie. Because that's that's a good duel, right? Fire. Liz goes to the end. He takes Liz. Kenzie and Ben do it out. Ben can't build a fire. Kenzie wins. And so it's Charlie, Kenzie, and Liz in the end. And then Charlie wins it. Maybe unanimously.
It's who we saw at the sanctuary. So I think that's our final 3. If it, like I said, all depends on how things play out. Now, if for some reason we get Charlie and Maria in the final 4, like, because we have that scenario, one wins immunity, one plays an idol for the first time this season correctly. Actually plays an idol.
That's all you have to do.
Then it's going to be very interesting to see how can Maria and Charlie make fire. I'm sure Charlie can. He looks like he was a Boy Scout. Like he practices it a lot.
Oh yeah.
Maria.
I mean, I think it's a high possibility that one of them could find an idol because they want people to find the idol. It didn't seem that. I mean, Q said it was really hard, but he found it still in a couple of hours. I definitely think somebody's going to find the idol. but who's to say if it will be Maria or, Maria or Charlie, but either one. But then the other one has to also win immunity. Maybe Charlie does both. Maybe Charlie wins both. And then, right?
I think the most exciting, I don't think this is going to happen at all, but let's just have fun with this for a second because this episode really didn't offer us a whole lot.
I know we're almost done talking about it.
what if Maria finds the idol? Okay, so she finds the idol, she plays it, Charlie wins immunity, they send let's say Liz goes home from that. So we have Kenzie, Ben, Maria, Charlie wins immunity with the 4, but he knows he has to beat Maria at fire. So Charlie and Maria go for fire. And then the winner of that, which I think Charlie still wins this season based on how this edit's being. And so he beats Maria at fire. And then it's a unanimous vote. Charlie wins Survivor. I think that would be... That's
why. So why do you think Charlie's going to go to fires? Because somebody else is going to win immunity, or
I think he's going to win the Final 4 challenge, and he knows that I guess they could just vote out Maria right then.
Right.
Okay. Well, never mind.
If he wins the Final 4 challenge, he has to send somebody to fire. He'd put himself up against her.
I don't think he would. I don't think he's going to put himself up on fire. That's too much of a risk.
I think he knows he has to, though.
Well, why? If you can vote Maria off, then he has the best game.
If you're at 4, you can't vote Maria off, right? You have to send her to fire.
Yeah.
I am right. Yeah. So
you're saying that Maria will probably beat Kenzie or Ben in fire, and so in order to send her home, he must. I kind of see what you mean there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think he has to have a 1-up against Maria somehow. And this Q vote helped a little bit.
Yeah. No, I think this is the differentiating factor for Charlie and some of her mistakes with Liz, and his relationships, which were just proven there with Kenzie and Liz and Ben. So I think that even if he still goes to the end with Maria, and maybe he'll anticipate that risk of Maria winning and it's being seen as a blunder on his part. And so maybe he'll take her to the end with confidence to say, hey, regardless, I don't even need to send her. We made an agreement on day 1. I stuck to my word. She didn't. I never put her name down. I never voted. She betrayed me. I was always honest to her. She was even honest to her on the Q vote. And so that was a really interesting part where has Charlie ever been on the wrong side of a vote?
Well, Maria said that she hasn't. I think she's always voted with Charlie.
She has now.
Yeah. So I don't think he has been on the wrong side of any vote.
Yeah, I mean, if Charlie could just do one, maybe more thing, play the idol successfully, or win the last 2 challenges, I mean, it's kind of a wrap for Maria. I think. I mean, she might get a couple of votes, but I don't think she's going to win.
So here's another question: when it comes to newbie seasons, if Charlie does win unanimously, if Charlie does vote correctly every single tribal, does he go down as one of the top Survivor players of all time?
Yeah,
there's not a lot of people who can. I don't know if we're gonna have to check this out. I don't know if anybody can say that they voted correctly every single time and won the game unanimously. Has that happened?
I don't know.
I mean, that's a perfect game.
Yeah,
besides winning,
a perfect game. Well, and the fact that he's a Harvard guy, so he's a threat coming in. They know that he's a smart kid, and I mean, you wouldn't think that. This is the new school type of winner, right? You see Denise, you see Marianne, you see Gabler, you see D, right?
Yeah.
And Charlie ain't, the mold, or who is the other one? Yum, right?
Yep.
Charlie, not really this type of new carries, so it's just very interesting that I don't know if anybody, I mean, you knew he was a strong player coming in, right? And that alliance with Maria, you knew it from the beginning. Wow, this is a strong alliance. They're super tight when nobody else really was. But yeah.
Well, and Jeff even mentioned it. Was it at Tribal that he said, we see people that stay in alliances all the way through, and now it's been a little different, like this new age, and it's like alliances shift constantly. And we're like, he's already kind of talking. He's talking about, wait, hang on. I'm getting it. Oh, okay. So I just got word they're changing it from a fire challenge to a rock, paper, scissors challenge.
Right.
Sorry.
I love our modern day technology these days.
Right, like what? They're gonna go. They're gonna go. Maria's gonna be in it. They're gonna do rock paper scissors, and she's gonna get voted out. They don't know he goes to Harvard, do they? I don't think they do.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I don't remember, honestly, if he disclosed that or said that. I mean, they obviously. I mean, look at his head. He's got a big old brain. I mean, this kid's got like a noggin.
Oh my god.
Definitely a smart kid.
My brother has a big noggin. He didn't go to Harvard. I won't tell you that much. Right
yeah. I mean, I think they all know he's a smart kid, but yeah, the Taylor Swift thing. I mean, that at the beginning, I mean, really lowered his profile and made him think, oh, this little Taylor Swift fan, right? This guy's, he's an adult male, but he's really I'm seeing him as a 14-year-old girl. I'm just joking, but maybe that did a good job at, reducing his target, right?
It didn't hurt. I think it really it's kind of solidified a little something with him and Ben, which we're seeing now at the end. They're pretty tight, and and I think it just makes him it's a kind of a goofy thing, right? To be able to know all that and very nerdy, and I just think it made him more approachable, more kind of just more likable.
Yeah.
So we've seen this season. We've seen the castaways. We know who these people are. Where would you put just as this group compared to any other season? Would you put them in the lower half and the
lower
top half? Thank you for that.
Lower.
That goes to hurt these, because I mentioned, does this make him a top 10 player of all time? And so how much does who you play with factor in? Is it considerably? Is it? How do you do that?
100%. I think. I mean, with Charlie as it being one of considering him one of the top players, I think he's played a really, really smart game. I think he's made the right decision at the right time, the way he needs to make it. He knows when he has to go for Maria. He knows he knows all of the things, and he's doing all of the things right. He's not a flashy player. Mm-hmm. He's not. He's a much more subtle player, but some people really, really respect that. So, but again, he's playing against people. One of the things that I think people remember, like King George, King George, or Rob, or Sandra, or players that understand the intricacies of votes and things. And by not playing idols this season, going home with them, we didn't see any advantages, really. Everything seemed at a beginner's pace, almost, in my opinion, a little beginner. Right. We just didn't, even though they had the idols there, they weren't played. You can use those idols to do so much. It's more than just saving your own behind, right? So you don't get voted out, but you can use those to swap, you can change the whole flow of the game by playing an idol at the right time. And great players know how to do that. So with Charlie, he never had an idol to play himself, but he's known about idols. And there's ways that if he was that top player, to manipulate the people around you to then throw the game in the absolute direction that you wanted it to go, and switch things up. I don't know. So not seeing those things played, it definitely takes away from how great of a player is he, because he hasn't really faced the top people.
Right.
Yeah. Right. It's a great point. Go ahead, Brendan.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Tommy back at Island of the Idols, just that kind of gameplay where it's just just stay away from the crazy and just, keep calm and stay away from the crazy, right? I think he did that whole entire season. I don't think Tommy, he had a lot of crazy his season too. But I don't think he took any missteps either. And that's almost a great majority of this game, is not to take the missteps and know where everything is or where people are. Maybe just because I found.
Well, thanks, Brennan.
Yeah, give him some hearts, Alex.
This there for you, Brennan.
Thank you, Brennan.
The season is kind of I think everyone's just too nice. I mean, this is just
not the jury anymore. Oh my
goodness. But this is the cutesy, we all love each other, but this is this goes into the blind sides. It's because everyone is so tight and so nice that there's never this kind of like friction in it. And it does seem like everyone's kind of, it's like amateur hour. Charlie you're so right about that. Just played a very, because he hasn't had to. He's just been in the, in the shadows, really just building those relationships and not a lot of play. I mean, there just hasn't been, really, but it's just kind of a boring season and not my favorite. I'm better than last year's, maybe, but I think the drama in between Dee and Austin, that was pretty entertaining. And are they going to be in, that type of stuff? Rob and Amber 2.0, but not really because we know how that
never worked out.
Never worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this season and I just haven't been like, wow, this is like, you know what I mean? Right. I haven't had any wow moments. Will we see, there's one episode left. Will we see something great? I don't know. Brandon, we didn't get a chance to hear your final four. Like, how do you think that will play out in your eyes?
Yeah, I'm hoping we have a Charlie Maria fire making challenge. I don't think it's going to happen. I think I agree with you guys. It makes for a boring episode of a podcast. But again, if you haven't, play it. And I think we have Charlie and we have, you pick, no one's going to get any votes who I'm going to mention. So Kenzie, Ben, and maybe Liz goes home. I don't know. But Charlie went in this season for sure.
And I'm going to start the book, how to play an idol correctly for dummies. I think that's going to be the next book that needs to come out.
Yeah, key to an idol working is actually trying to play it. But you were so right, Brie, as far as you said, like how idols can be played. They don't have to be played for yourself. It can be, a very sneaky way to get somebody else out that you don't, that isn't maybe a target, right? And to disrupt an alliance. There's a lot of different ways to use the idol instead of just using it for yourself. If you and you alone are on the chopping block, just so happened that every single time that these people who had the idol needed to play the idol, so, there was only really one way that they should have played it, which was for themselves. But hopefully this will be a lesson for future survivor, people, if you have an idol, it's better to play it than to go home with it in your pocket.
Yeah.
I just can't even imagine that. If I was on Survivor and I had an idol, then I would be like, I don't know, I'd be too nervous. I feel like I would have to play it. And if people know about it, then even more. So right?
In the top 6, you have 6 more people. You win this, and all you really have to do to get any further is win an immunity challenge. And Q, I don't even know what to believe of Q. Like, is he as strong as he's been saying all season? You remember at the very beginning of this season, he started talking about how he's not trying yet. He doesn't want to be seen as a big threat. Well, he hasn't won anything the whole season when he does try. So, and sometimes not even close. So, oh my goodness, Bree, write that book, man.
I know, right? You got to write the book. Q has been must-see TV this year. He has been entertaining. We've gotten a little entertainment out of him. We've got some new products that'll be on the market coming to you in a store near you in the As Seen on TV section. Look for the Q skirt and many others coming soon to a store near you. We said that this was kind of a boring episode and we haven't had a lot, but man, has there been a lot of talk in the Survivor world this week.
Yeah. Well, last thing about Q, and then we should talk about this because there is, but I think that a big part of this being kind of boring is that Q has been taken out of play. Nobody wants to talk to Q. Nobody can talk to Q. And so he's over here and then these people are, and so that takes out a kind of a big element of the game. And so I think that's contributed to kind of like the lacklusterness of things because you just have this dead weight who nobody wants to work with. But yes. So they're talking about, are you talking about season 50? Is that what
oh my gosh,
there's
so many things. Well, we got season 50 and everyone's talking about it. And I've seen Rob saying stuff about like building alliances and like them. He's put a picture up on social media of him with Jonathan in a car.
Big Jonathan guy.
Starbucks, right? Shout out to Starbucks, not at Applebee's. And so those two were in the car. And then we get the announcement from Australia that they're going to do a shorter season. They're going to do 2 seasons next year. They're going to do a regular season, and then they're going to do an extra season that'll be shorter than the 47 days that they do down in Australia. and it's going to be US versus Australia.
Wow.
So my first thought was, everyone's been saying, oh my gosh, Jeff's got to do this. We've got to get an Australia versus US version. They're so great. And I'm like, then Australia comes out and says, no, we're going to do it. And I'm like, why didn't we just ask JLP in the first place? He's more likely to do it. Everyone was focused on Jeff. We don't need Jeff. Let JLP do it anyway. That'll be perfect. So I'm excited. There's a few things I'm interested in, right? A few things on this. I'm fascinated by this. It's coming up soon. They're gonna film it in, I believe, September. So they're already looking for people. I know that it's early days yet, so many people don't even know if they're going to be asked. That I've heard from actual players that have played on Australia that said they haven't been asked yet, so they don't know. But when we're talking about who to send there, I think we need to look at the fact that we can't send our favorites that we love so much, and that's because they're our favorites. I think we really have to look strategically at who's going to crush Australia. That's what I want to know. I want the top players that are really bring the whole package that can dominate down there. What about you guys? What are you thinking about this whole Australia versus US thing?
I don't think I have that whole Olympic spirit, go Team USA about this, because I have a whole lot of people on the Australia side that I'm like, I don't know if I would mind Australia to win this one, especially if they have King George, especially if they have not Jaden, but especially if they have Shawnee, and if they have Mark. I liked Mark's play. So gosh, I don't know if I want necessarily the U.S. to take this home, but I agree with you. I think that they should pick players based on who can beat the Australian Survivor players, and not just fun, charismatic survivors. I agree.
I just want a good showing. Australia can win. I'm fine with that. I love both shows, right? I'm good. I like the people on both sides. I just want a really good showing from the US, because I know what social media is going to do with this. And if they're just like, the US is just getting eliminated left and right, and they're not even, I'm like, I want it to be a fair fight. So put your big dogs in.
Well, I hope what they do is they do go a different route, where they say, hey, we want some fun people that are on this island, regardless of strategy. Well, I hope the other Australia side does that as well, because there are some different players on there that would be fun to have back and see again. But I would rather see both sides go strategy, balls to the walls. Let's get this done. Whatever balls to the walls is in Australian, I don't know, but yes.
Kangaroo balls, but go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, they take their toasties to the limit or something.
Toasties to the limit.
Yeah.
We get more Alex saying Australian.
Right, more Australian. Yeah.
Toasties,
yes.
Australian Alex will be back.
Yeah, Australian Alex, that's right.
No buggins.
I don't know. I have this gut feeling that America is just going to clean up. Because the Australians, remember, they're always just like, they always want the blind side. Like, they just can't help themselves. Like, they just get all the best people off right away. And I feel like those would be the American targets, but I have a feeling like the American people, because there has been so much history, and there's been so many of these events, and they've known each other for so long, and maybe they don't even know the Australian people. Like, maybe the Americans, I'm sure they watch it or will watch it before they go, but I just have a gut feeling that America is just going to sweep the board and do a pretty good job against Australia. Not that an Australian person couldn't win. My favorite player, one of my favorite players of all times are Liz and King George. But yeah, I mean, the American people, they're pretty crafty, and they're pretty, I don't know, a little bit more loyal, I feel like, than maybe the Australians will be. So we'll see. But it'll be a shorter season, right? So that will be a shorter season. Because the Americans can't handle the 47 days, right? They would be on the ground.
But it's going to be tough challenges. And so you have to be able to, hang with those challenges. We want to see those players in there doing that. But yeah, I think we definitely need to see those strategists. And you know that Team America is going to come in very, very prepared, really focused on working with each other. And not that Australia won't do that, but I think we have as Sandra pointed out, we have 700 players to choose from, right? So
Wow.
there's a lot of people in the, for the US version to choose from. And many of them stayed connected. Now, there's been a lot of crossover. We've seen a ton of Australian players. There was just King George was just here, or they're having something, watch party brunch and whatever things that are going on with a lot of the American players. So we're seeing that crossover. I don't think we saw that with when Russell went down there. He won't be invited. I know people said, "Oh, we want Russell." He won't be invited back to that country. Like, he pissed so many people off down there that they will not. I mean, unless they went really crazy TV, but maybe. It doesn't seem in their style of things. Like, we would do it in the US, but I don't. Old Jeff would do that in the US. I don't know if JLP and those guys down there would like appreciate it, because he was rude. Like, it was like beyond just being Russell. It was bad. Right. So, but then you see, like, we've seen like Sandra down there. We've seen Nita down there twice. There's been a lot of these players are very involved in Survivor internationally. And so there's a lot of stuff. They might even be, like saying, hey, if it's US versus Australia, but we get down to that like 5 people, we could do some deals here, whatever, you know what I mean, as we merge and things happen and change. So
they're going to need to get the big guys there. They're going to need Jonathan. They're going to need, Malcolm, maybe. I mean, imagine Malcolm down there, right? They're going to need some big guys, because that's what Australian Survivor is. It's big physical challenges, duels, arm wrestling, alligator wrestling competitions, right? Whatever they got down there. Right?
Well, and that's it too. And Sandra's comment about, hey, there's 700 people to choose from for US Survivor. Yeah, I have 700 channels on my TV. I only watch like 5 of them. And that's why I think sometimes Survivor has become, there's multiple seasons that we just had in this new era. Well, I would probably name like 7 people that I would absolutely choose. Or consider choosing for even Survivor 50, let alone a representation season of Survivor against Australia. So, I guess, we picked Jonathan. I think, yes, absolutely get Jonathan back on Survivor against Australia. Do you guys have 2 other names?
Kelly Wentworth, but not new season. I want Kelly Wentworth because still very competitive, still very much in the game, very well connected. And brilliant player. Like, she really understands all the ins and outs, and can physically handle it. I think Kelly would be my top choice.
Okay.
What about you, Alex?
I mean, Jonathan, right? I'm trying to think of who else is a big guy or a big player. Who else did well, right? Yeah. So I don't know, Brandon. Let me think about this for a second. What do you think?
If we're going with big and bad, I don't know where he is these days, but it'd be great to see James back on TV, especially after a season where so many idols were not played. And he's like, all right, like, it happened. There was a whole season dedicated to me with this lack of idol playing. I'd love to see James back there and see what he can do in this kind of structure.
Yeah. I mean, I think Boston Rob will probably be in there because he was just on Deal or No Deal, which Deal or No Deal Island. Don't hold it against me. I watched it, and it's not. I don't know. It's not looking good for Rob, unfortunately.
I watched it. I saw they had the finale last week.
I don't think it's the finale.
Done. I know who wins.
Don't tell me.
I won't say. But yeah, I mean,
I would love to see. You know who I'd love to see back? Natalie Anderson, winner. She was a really physical, strong girl, super great player. She could, interact with those Australian people and I think do an amazing job. So love Natalie Anderson. I think she's a great player, but sorry, go ahead, Brie.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I look at, any of those ones that went to like exile and had to do those insane challenges to like get them, like, I think it was Natalie and Tyson and who else, but they had to like run logs up, like bring logs down the mountain like 500 times and like to get like an advantage or a token or whatever to be able to buy things to get them back in the game. And I look at the people that just never quit and they're just so powerful and strong. And then they've learned so much about the game. I want to see people like that. I wouldn't mind seeing Tyson back in it. I don't know if he would do it. But I think he's got he's so quick-witted and knows how to manipulate so well. I think that's like a skill that you want to bring in. I don't think it's going to be this night everybody play nice crap. I think it's going to be 40 and I think it's going to take the mentality of 40 and under to that kind of gameplay, not this we change alliances every week and everything's fluid and flowing and kumbaya. I mean, we'll see players coming in from the new era, but I think old school is definitely what is the game you want to play down there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Of course, I wouldn't mind seeing Queen D back on the screen because I think that she kind of has that old school mentality. And the other two names I wanted to make sure I hit on during this time is I've been wanting this guy Dominic from Ghost Island. I think he deserves to come back and represent. And I think he can play this kind of game that they need to be played down in Australia. And it'd be great for him to be able to represent that.
Well, that's a good point. Are they going to allow winners? I mean, I'm sure there'll be one or two, but is it going to be heavy on the winners side? Because there's way more winners on America, right? And I think about Chris Underwood, right? He was the guy who went to exile the entire time, came back, put himself in the fire making challenge, first person to do that, won it, and then won the whole. He's a big guy. I don't think you got to see him play very much. Hard to say if he's a good player. But I mean, he's another person who you think, okay, maybe if they're bringing back winners, but I don't know. I have a feeling they won't bring back winners.
I'd like to see Stephanie there.
Stephanie
LaGrossa.
LaGrossa. She won Guatemala. She didn't win Guatemala.
I don't think but she was the one that was like her whole tribe got voted off, but her.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, of course, yes.
And I love Stephanie. I think she's got that whatever that it factor, that survivor it factor that will take her far. People have thrown Cerie's name around. I don't see Cerie doing it. I don't think she wants to. I think she's happy doing things like Big Brother and Traders where there's air conditioning and catering. So I don't think that she has any wish to go down to Australia and play that kind of game. And Sandra said she will not do it. She did say I'll sit on the sidelines and watch, which made me think of something. And I'm just going to throw it out there. Sandra, are you going to have any part of the production team down there?
Island of the Idols? Or no, what was it? What was the one where they had Rob, big statue of Rob's head?
Jeff wouldn't go down there, but it'd be really interesting. She already has a relationship with them.
Yeah.
Her daughter's been on it twice. She's been down there. I mean, if they gave her some kind of JLP assistant kind of role to kind of balance things, I'm just saying, I'm putting it out. She said she's making nominations. She's very heavily into this. And she's like, I won't be playing. I'll be on the sidelines watching. And I thought, are you telling something in there? Can I read something into that?
I think Sanders is very passionate about Survivor and makes decisions without anybody else's approval. So I think
this is true.
I think that's Sandra, but I would kill to have them say, "Hey, go talk on the ship to somebody about the game of Survivor." And if it's not Sandra, have Debbie on there.
Oh my gosh!
whatever advice that she feels like they need that would make that season for me.
Can we get Carolyn down there on Australia? I mean, she'd be fun to have down there on Australia. I want to see her interacting with some Australian people.
Oh my God, she would have a blast.
She would love it because they would keep up with her. They would be like, "Oh, fine." She's like an Aussie at heart. They're a little bit more wackadoo. They're a little bit more crazy. They have a little bit more.
I love it. I think she would do it too.
Energy. Yeah, she would do it. Yeah. Oh yeah, she would do it. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
Carson too. I mean, Carson's got to come back.
I love Carson. I don't know if he could keep up with that down there, but
yeah, he would be squished.
Yes, like some of those things are pretty tough, right?
I want Carson on top of Jonathan. Then you have like the ultimate survivor, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's exciting. I really love that they're doing it. It made my day when I saw that. I was like, yes. Like we should have just asked JLP a long time ago. Like what? Now the question is, how are we going to watch this darn thing?
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
That's
like
a good
if
point.
you don't see the amount of money and like notoriety that you can get by making this available to the American fan base, like
Right.
you have to strike a deal with somebody. If it's not Paramount, then like play nice, make an agreement, stick to the agreement, and let the world watch this show.
And maybe that's how they get back to Paramount. It's kind of said this is what you do to get back to the limelight and to be more international, like I know they want to become. And they should. They offer a great product.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I keep telling my mom, I'm like, Mom, because I grew up watching Survivor with my mom, and I'm like, Mom, you got to watch Heroes versus Villains Australia. She's like, I don't know how to do that, and I'm like, there's really no good way for her to do it either. So I'm just like, well, I don't know. I guess download it onto a thumb drive and stuff. I don't know. I mean, there's really not very many good options out there. If you're interested, there's a group on Facebook that you can find them, but yeah, I don't. It's so weird why they do that. And then you two know my hate of the Paramount Plus app. It's just these companies, they have hundreds of millions of dollars. They've been broadcasting for 9,000 years, and they can't get this app. I mean, it's like the worst app ever. It's insane. Like we can't stream it to our TV. We have to stream it from our computer onto our TV, and then even then, it's just the worst. So. Bad.
Yeah, it's not done well. We need to be able to watch everything. We want to see regular Australian Survivor as well. So make some deals, make some money, put pride aside and let's get it done because it needs to happen. And we need to have it up here because you have a huge fan base you're not serving. We love Australian Survivor. It's not, we don't have that animosity where, it's Australia or whatever. We love it. We support it. Mm-hmm. Before we run out of time, we got about 10 minutes left. Let's talk a little bit about 50 because there's been a lot of talk about that. And I'm interested in seeing where we go and how does this announcement by, JLP in Australia affect how we look at 50. Like my first thought was going to be like, Jeff's going to say, well, if you go do the Australian one, we're not going to have you on 50 or something. You know what I mean? Like, so how does it affect everything? There will always be shorter seasons. I just saw that this morning from Jeff. They will never go back to the old way. So if they do 50 with old players, it will be the 27 days that we are accustomed to now.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I guess it depends who they want to bring back on the Australia side of things, because they will probably evenly match it, right? Yep. So will they bring back King George and Liz and all that stuff? Well, then they got to bring back some winners on the American side of things. So, I mean, George never won, so he probably will be invited back, but maybe they won't do the winners. I don't know. I mean, I like it when they bring back the winners that I like, but if it's a winner that I don't like, then they can stay home type of thing.
Yeah.
That is an interesting question of will you get cross-pollination or will they make you choose, right? Which one do you want to be on? So,
well, and also what's the length of time in between? So if they're hoping to shoot this in September of this year. So that means we're going to be watching 47 this coming fall, 48, 49. And
they're shooting 47 and 48 right now.
Okay.
Right. That shooting should have begun for 47 right now. Okay. And then they'll shoot 48 right after. So then they will shoot I think they're shooting Australian Survivor in June, maybe, and then a September. I'm trying to give them enough time. Then a September Australia versus US, which is a shorter version because we see I think the US versus Australia will be a late winter release with Australian Survivor being a summer release. I believe that's the schedule that I saw of how things will come out. So they will have already filmed and released the US versus Australia before they film, because a year from now they'll be filming 49 and 50.
Well, again, we talked about how interesting it was. I think Bree, you got it on the news feed from Jeff. Is we'll take them from any place. You can almost wonder if there's like a second Australia U.S. Survivor
Rematch.
that'll take place, a rematch.
I did say that.
So
before JLP announced anything. So,
but we've never had a crossover from a foreign survivor into an American survivor ever.
No.
And so that makes me think like there's some sort of, CBS doesn't want that type of thing because the Australian brand is not attached to CBS overseas. Right. And so that's kind of the conflict is maybe CBS says,
I think it's
hey,
licensed though. I think they have an interest in it.
You think so? I mean, it could just be a Mark Burnett type of thing where he owns the brand, but he sold the exclusive rights to American Survivor only to CBS because it's like on Sky, and it's in South Africa, and they don't have CBS over there, right? I don't believe so. And so those specific networks, and so CBS might say, oh well, but I don't know. I mean, who's to say? But it could just be that Jeff Probst, Mark Burnett, the creators of it, do have the rights over the Survivor title, but CBS has the rights over Survivor US, right?
All this speculation.
Right.
And another piece of this is, has any other show given their people, or has any other? So we have Amazing Race people join Survivor. We've seen Traders and CBS. We've seen Big Brother and Survivor. What other non-CBS reality shows have?
Well, same thing for Amazing Race. I don't think there's ever been a crossover because there's Amazing Race in other countries. I've never seen somebody from a previous winner of an Amazing Race, which just had their season finale last night, by the way. Amazing Race this season. It was a really bad season, to be honest. You never seen somebody from a different Amazing Race come over to American Amazing Race.
Mm-hmm.
Just so
they don't even really
aware,
like the returning players that much, but God.
Viacom CBS does own the parent company of Australia's Network 10, which broadcasts Australian Survivor.
Okay, well then they have no excuse.
They have no excuse.
What the heck? Can we get some freaking Paramount Plus Australian Survivor? What is going on?
That's very interesting.
That's just horrible. Saying. That's so horrible. Yeah, they haven't. They're still very connected.
Boo Paramount, boo.
Yeah.
Jeff,
but Netflix is throwing their hat in there. I don't know how recent this is, but this is older. But we'll see. Because I think I think because Australian Survivor has blown up so much and they've won like the award, they won a Webby or whatever it was, whatever the awards are. I know there's a different name for it. I can't think what it is, but they won like an Emmy down in Australia for Australian Survivor, and that's a big deal. And they're really becoming more international. They're getting a huge following and very well respected. It seems like you need to take advantage of that. You need to be putting it up here, and I think that's their intention by saying we're going to do a U.S. versus Australia Survivor, right? Because they see that we're all asking for it. I'm sure they're part of the Tribe of Spoken, and they're monitoring things and seeing what we all want to, and they're listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you see that American Survivor is on things like Netflix. They'll have like 2 or 3 seasons, like on Netflix. There's a couple seasons on Hulu, but if you want the full catalog, you got to go to Paramount. So maybe Netflix can help us out here and purchase the rights to Australian Survivor.
They got the money. Right? Let's do it.
That'd be a big release on imagine that. Heroes versus Villains Australia on Netflix. I mean, that's like Squid Games. I mean, that's a big one. So
it is a big one. Yeah, it'd be the one to do. We're gonna wrap it up here. We have the season finale next week. I don't know if it's going to be our season finale. We'll probably keep going a little bit just to talk about what's the fallout of all this crazy talk with 50 and US versus Australia. Get some player interviews and bring that to you guys because we don't want to stay out of everything. We also want to take a summer vacation. So we'll let you know what our schedule will be, but we've appreciated having you guys with us right to the end next week. Big ending. Who's your pick? Let's just wrap it up with our winner pick.
Charlie.
I should have said it all at the same time.
Right.
Charlie.
Charlie bit my finger. Yeah. Charlie won Survivor. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Charlie's winning Survivor. It's like D, right? It's just written. It's
as long as Peppermint Patty doesn't pull that football out, Charlie will win.
Agreed.
No, Liz is winning. No,
Liz
Charlie's
is
winning. Charlie or Maria is winning, and that's just how it is. So
yep,
that's it.
Awesome. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Kenzie wins. There we go.
Okay,
you heard it first. That's
Ooh,
right, Brennan.
right.
All right.
All right.
Number in.
Bet you a bourbon burger.
Bourbon mushroom burger.
Yeah, bacon, bourbon, Applebee's burger. We did get another Applebee's shout out at the end by Q. Why? Nobody knows.
I don't know.
He's hungry.
At least Liz could eat Chinese food and she was happy. So
cute.
she's like, what's in this? I can't have these ingredients.
I know. I was surprised she could eat the Chinese food, right?
I'm sure they talked about ingredients ahead of time.
Probably.
So, all right. Deal. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks, everybody. Bye.